Welcome back, everybody, to the Slots 101 show, episode number 7 here on the Cowboy Slot channel. We are your hosts, Brantley and Mark. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Hope you all had a great weekend. We are here to answer your questions, so go ahead, start lining up those questions in the comment section, and we will go ahead and start taking those. But before we do, just a couple of quick things. We do have, again, as a reminder, we have our first ever in-person live seminar that we are holding at the Seven Feathers Casino in Canyonville, Oregon. That's going to be on April 16th. It is 100% free to come in, and tickets are 100% free, but you do have to register. So be sure to register for that at our website, which is ropethejackpot.com. Again, that's going to be on April 16th at the Seven Feathers Casino in Canyonville, Oregon. Also, guys, just to let you know, we do still have a lot of those great products in the shop. I believe we only have a couple of those green poker chips left. So if you haven't gotten your chance to get a green poker chip or any of our other really cool swag and products, we have those available on our website, ropethejackpot.com, as well as our forums where you can ask your questions 24/7, talk to locals in your area, and so much more. So this is our Sunday episode 7 Q&A show. We'll go ahead and we'll start lining up those questions, and I'm going to hand it off to Mark to get us started. Mark?
All right, thank you, Brantley. So welcome everybody to the Sunday show. And just a reminder for all you new guys, I actually see some new names in here, so good to see you guys. The Sunday show is all about beginners, so if you have questions about anything, this is the show for you. Even if we have answered it recently, we will still take your question because we have a lot of new people cycling through, and it's hard to go back and listen to all the old ones that we've done, even though they are available if you're curious. But we want to try to get to everybody's question today, and we'll probably not get too into the weeds with them. We're just going to kind of do some quick fire answers. But we have another show on Wednesdays where we go into more detail and we actually talk about things that aren't really mentioned often on the channel. So that's the kind of the advanced show, I guess you could call it. But really, it's for anybody who just wants to get more of the answers of the questions that you're asking. So anyway, guys, so yeah, start lining up those questions. We see some in there already, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and hope everybody enjoys the show today. All right, and Craig Strang says, when playing 1 cent denomination at max bet at $10 per spin, would you have better odds at the same machine but at 10 cents denomination, betting $10 per spin but not at max bet? So a couple of things to kind of piece that together. So the first thing is, in general, overall, the higher the denomination, the higher the payback percentage is going to be on that machine. The difference between 1 cent and 10 cent is not very significant. So in the short term, you're not going to notice any kind of difference there. But here's the thing that you really need to consider with a question like this, is that if you are not max betting, are you losing out on anything? If you don't get the progressive potentials or you don't get the free game potential by not doing max bet, then you most certainly want to do the 1 cent denomination and max bet it at $10 a spin so that you can get all those eligible features. But if everything is all equal, in that case, I would probably do the 10 cent denomination at $10 per spin and just not do it at max bet. So make sure, but make absolutely sure that you're not missing out there, because that's really the question you should be asking there. So good question, Craig. Really appreciate it. And back to you, Brantley.
All right, very good question, Craig. Thank you so much. All right. From Paul Andrews, question for multi-denom slots. Is it generally better to play high denom minimum than low denom max when cost per spin is roughly the same? So if the cost per spin is roughly the same, the higher denom is normally what I would go for. But it really all depends on the type of game that you're playing and if you have an incentive to bet higher on that particular game. So this is kind of one of those that would be very, very game specific. But in general, I would usually opt for the higher denom in most game scenarios. And then also, second question from Paul, on multi-denom machines, will the casino always set the payback more favorably in the higher denom? Generally speaking, yes, they will. There are several reasons for that. So the higher denomination machines, they don't get played as often. There's less spins that go into account. So they can usually have the higher payback percentage on those. And that's generally a rule of thumb that the casino will normally follow. It's kind of an industry standard practice where the higher denoms will yield a higher payback percentage. But just as a reminder too, we always encourage you guys to focus on the other factors, because that payback percentage, we did a great video demonstrating the differences between a high payback and a low payback percentage. Mark did that video, and we actually, the lower payback percentage came out ahead, which, you know, was kind of surprising, but it really goes to show you that in the short term, that payback percentage really doesn't matter as much as picking other aspects of the game. So I hope that helps, and best of luck out there to you. And back to you, Mark.
Alrighty, sounds good. And Ace Larson says, do you ever do video poker advice? Not often, but we have in the past. There's a great interview that Brantley did with the Jackpot Gent guys who know a lot about video poker. And I encourage you to go back and check out that interview. I learned a lot from it, more than I knew was even possible with video poker. So, but you know what? We have never sat down and done live play on video poker. Maybe we'll do it on this next trip just to kind of give you guys some advice while we're playing. Just to kind of walk you through what to look for on video poker machines. So I'll take that on. We'll try to figure that out when we're there and sit down and play some video poker for you. All right, and CD says, hi all, this week I played some of the slots recommended here. Won two $1,000 progressives on double blazing sevens. That's a great one. At Bellagio and Cherry's Jubilee at MGM. Then used the winnings on pinball and top dollar. Well, I hope the winning continued and you didn't lose after you played pinball and top dollar. But that is exactly what you should be doing. This is what we talk about so much with the build-up method and picking the right machines. It's all about starting there. You know, you should never start at a high volatility game. Never do that. Those games are reserved for when you feel like you need to be risky, and the best time to be risky is when you're up for your budget. You know, you do not want to be risky when you're down to your last $10 or last $100. It's not the time to do it. You got to build up, have the patience, and then once you get built up really well, then you can start pushing your luck and playing those riskier games. So well done, CD. I love reading this because this is exactly what we try to teach here, and this is a good way to start with that build-up method. So well done there. And let me see, I'll take the next one here. To the Stars says, question, if I play in Tahoe or Atlantic City and use my card, would Vegas recognize it for the free room offers, or they stay with you where you play? So as long as it's in the MGM system, nowadays it's all shared amongst all of them, but I think you still need a host in order to book promotions at those other facilities. That I'm not really sure on. I think that's the way it's set up right now. I'll make it a point to ask that next time I talk to a host. But I think that all the systems are tied in now, but before they weren't. Even though it was all M Life or MGM, you know, M Life promotions or whatever, if you went outside of Vegas, they were treated as different properties essentially. Like you would accrue free play only at that property. But I think now it's global. All the M Life properties or MGM properties are all shared. But I'll ask that to the Stars, and we'll see if we can get some clarification on it. All right, back to you, Brantley.
All right, very good questions, guys. We do have 2 super stickers coming in. Maria, $20 super sticker. Thank you so much, Maria. We really do appreciate that. And Lisa, $10 super sticker. Guys, thank you very much. All those super stickers, super chats, they do go to help out the channel, so we do greatly appreciate it. Also, guys, there's about 255 of you in here right now, and we've only just started the show, so we've got a lot of questions lined up. We're anxious to answer them for you, but just make sure to stick around because we might pull your question a little bit later on down the line on the show. So really do appreciate all those questions. Keep them coming. And I'll take this one here. How do we look up the volatility of a game? So this is a really common question that we get asked a lot. We did a full episode on volatility, which maybe Mark, we might have to make a short link to this. We did a whole episode about volatility. And the thing is, so with volatility, obviously there's not a set, there's not going to be a set number that you can look at like anywhere on the machine or look up or anything like that. It's really more of you're going to have to look at the pay table of whatever game it is. Any game, you're going to have to look at the pay table of the game. You're going to have to look at the features of the game, and you can determine the range of the volatility by looking at certain features of the game. So if the game is very simple, very straightforward, we did a video recently on Triple Jackpot, and you can see in that video the pay table for Triple Jackpot, the glass up top, was very, very simple and straightforward. There's no bonuses. There's not a whole bunch of crazy multipliers, nothing like that. It's a very low volatile game. You look at a game like, we'll just say Dragon Cash, for example, that has, two different types of bonuses. It's got the hold and spin, it's got the free spins, it's got a long list of different symbols and such. It's going to be a lot higher in volatility, and also bigger prizes are normally indicative of a higher volatile game. So you can even look at older school games like a 10 times or a 12 times pay machine, and you can see that top line jackpot is extremely high. It's very hard to hit that. It's not going to hit very frequently. So that's one of the major things that you can do to determine the volatility of any game. There's not going to be a list or anything that you can, go look up. Now, on some games, there are some games that some manufacturers will put the range of volatility on their website. I know there's a couple games that IGT has where you can go to IGT's website, you can look up a game, and usually in the description on some of them it'll say, player can choose between a mid-range or a high-range volatile bonus game. So there are some resources that you have out there, but generally speaking, in terms of volatility, it's something that you, the player, have to make your own determination of just by looking at all of the features and all of the aspects that are associated with that game. So, and Mark has that short link up there, ropethejackpot.com/volatility. That's a great video, honestly. And if you have not yet seen that video, I would really highly encourage you to watch that video and also to share that video, because it's extremely important, and we break down everything of determining volatility when you're looking at a game. So very, very good. And thank you so much for your questions. Wag says, do multi-denom machines run a different RNG per denom? So no, the RNG itself is going to be the same. So remember, the random number generator is just the picking mechanism. Picture it like a crane. It's reaching down, it's pulling something up. That's all the RNG is. The thing that changes between denominations is going to be that virtual pay table. So each denomination is going to have a different virtual pay table assigned to it, which is also going to correspond to its appropriate payback percentage setting. That's the aspect that changes, not the random number generator. The random number generator is still going to run the exact same. Thank you very much for your questions. All right, back to you, Mark.
All right, sounds good. And we got a $5 super chat from Susie O. Do you think it's possible to just have bad luck? How can one change this? Yes, it is possible. Some people just have rotten luck, and there's just nothing you can do. I don't know what it is. It's something in the universe, but it's not the machines, and it's not the casino. It's just some people just cannot push the button at the right moment, and there's nothing you can do to change that, unfortunately. So, but thank you so much for the super chat. Hopefully you're not describing yourself. We want you to be lucky. All right, and let's see. Skiff Green has a question. Hi, slots that have pot closes, etc., where you pick 3 matching symbols, is that determined first when you press the bet, or is it actually determined when the pot closes? So that's all happening within the time that you press the spin button. So at the moment that you press the spin button, it's going to already decide if that pot is closing on that spin or not. That is also when it decides which of those progressives you're going to end up getting, because it's fully predetermined. We're talking about dancing drums here. It's the most common one with the pot, but they all work essentially the same. And again, just remember that the pot closing is completely an illusion. It does not get big and then has to burst at a certain time. It's just an illusion to try to get you to keep playing, thinking that you're feeding that pot. If you don't believe us, go and read the game rules, and the game rules will actually tell you the same thing. So, good question, Skiff. All right. And let's go down here. So, Henry Delgado says, when you press the play button, does it alter the outcome if you quickly press it again to stop the reels versus letting the reels spin and stop on their own? No difference whatsoever. Again, like I just said, whenever you hit that spin button, it's already decided what's going to happen, so there's nothing you can do. All right, and Jerry Pace says, Brantley and Mark, have the laws on hand pays changed? No, they have not. My brother hit a $1,400 jackpot in Wendover, Nevada, and got the payment printed out, no hand pay. So a couple of things could have happened here. The hand pay only gets triggered if it's in a single spin or a single bonus round at the end of the bonus round. So if he won $800 and then $600, that would not trigger a hand pay, even though you printed out a ticket of $1,400. But I will say, in some very rare instances, they may not have the settings correct on the machine to lock it up at $1,200. I actually encountered this once. So you can that's something to look forward to. I mean, not look forward to, but that's probably rare. I think probably what happened is you just got it in multiple wins, and then you ended up printing a ticket that was 1,400. But who knows? I wasn't there, so I can't really say for sure. And I'll answer one more here. Little Joe says, question, at what amount will a casino only give you a check on a jackpot, or can you ask at any amount? Brantley, do you know this? I don't know this.
So it really depends on the casino. There are some smaller casinos out there in the country. Like if you go to a really small, really remote casino, believe it or not, they typically might not have all of the cash on hand if you do hit something, huge or major. And there's a lot of casinos out there where, $60,000 could be big to them, and they might not have $60,000 in cash to hand off to you, so they'll give you a check. Now, if you're playing in Las Vegas, I mean, Las Vegas has millions and millions of dollars on hand at any given point. So there's actually, there's a funny story. There's a bank of slot machines at Aria that have a progressive on it that's specific to Aria, and I think it's like $2.5 million. And Stacy of Stacy's High Limit Slots plays it a lot, and she actually asked at one point, like, how would that jackpot get paid out? And the casino actually did say that they have enough cash on hand. If you wanted it in a duffel bag, they could do it in a duffel bag. So there's, it really is very casino specific. Typically speaking, the casino is always going to try to, they actually prefer to give out cash rather than a check. It's easier for them. But a lot of smaller casinos that you go to, they might only opt to give you a check. So I hope that helps. It's very casino specific, that question.
All right. Thank you, Brantley. You go ahead and take some questions.
All right. Go ahead and grab the next one here.
Well, hold on.
Hold on.
So we're under tornado warning, so I'm going to have to get out of here. Sorry, guys. Just got the alert on my phone here, so...
You got a tornado coming in, Mark?
Yeah, they just said take cover, so there's a storm on the way here, so I gotta bail, guys. Sorry.
All right.
All right,
well,
I'll be back once it passes. I'll let you know.
Join us when you can, Mark. Stay
All right,
safe.
sounds good. Good job, guys. All right.
All right. Back to the question here from Daniel. Thanks for the Q&A live question. Do all of the bingo-based Class 2 machines have the exact same odds and volatility? So this is a good question. With this, generally speaking, with Class 2 environments, the payback percentage is actually set casino-wide. It's not set individual machine-wide. In terms of volatility, you really can't utilize volatility with Class 2 machines, but the odds will typically be the same. And actually, that's something new. That's new information that we just learned recently, is that in Class 2 facilities, typically the payback percentage is set casino-wide, because the individual machines, obviously you're playing the game of bingo on a bingo server. You can't adjust payback percentage on individual machines with that. So I hope that helps to answer your question. All right. Jim asks, have you ever tried the hunt for Neptune's gold? I have not, but I will have to keep my eye out for it and see if I can find it at the next time I go to the casino. And Tony Jazz, is it true that psychologists sometimes design these slot machines? I wouldn't say they design the slot machines. More so what they do is they do have a pretty heavy hand in it. There's a lot of psychology that goes in to the actual design of slot machines. So typically what's going to happen is the game makers will typically work with different psychologists and stuff to, build certain features certain ways in slot machines. They themselves don't design the slot machines, but they do have a pretty heavy hand in actually how the machine plays out, and just giving general advice to the game makers. All right. And pulling up some more questions here. Sia, I hope I said that right. I'm a newbie to your site. I'll be in Vegas this Easter. Which casino and what slots do you recommend to get my feet wet? Very good question. So for this, I would always recommend first sticking with whatever your budget is. So it really is going to depend on your budget. We always recommend utilizing the 1% rule. So whatever your budget is, your max bet amount should not exceed that. So if you go in, for example, with $1,000, your max bet should be $10. And that's generally the general rule that I would say. As for casinos, Aria and Bellagio, I feel if you're talking center of the strip, Aria and Bellagio, I feel, have probably the best mix of machines. There are a couple other casinos out there that do have a lot of really good older style machines, such as New York. New York actually has a lot of good ones, and so does MGM Grand. If you're staying Old Vegas, Fremont Street, I would recommend checking out Circa. Circa actually has a really wonderful casino with a lot of great machines. But just general rules of thumb, I would go through, review some of our videos as well, to kind of gauge which machines are going to be right for your budget. Stay away from those penny machines, and just have a lot of fun, and let us know how that goes. And best of luck to you. All right, guys. Moving right along here. And if you are just now joining us, Mark had to go. They had a tornado apparently coming in, which is not good. So he'll be back in a minute. Is there a method to reading pay tables when I get a mixed combinations when I find it difficult to understand the winnings? So a lot of these newer machines have really confusing pay tables. They really, really do. I would really strongly, and this is why typically for me, I stick with the simpler games, with the simpler pay tables. Always read the game rules. The game rules are probably going to be the best thing that you can possibly read. And especially with these newer style games that have so many symbols and so many lines and so many things going on, always read the game rules before you start playing. That's going to be the best thing. If you're playing an older machine, look at the top glass. Typically, look for things that are, we try to recommend staying with something very simple and very straightforward. That's going to be your best bet in terms of that. But reading the pay tables, especially on these newer games, can be kind of tricky. So I always recommend reading the game rules before you sit down and before you start playing. All right. And then going back to some questions here. Stephanie has a question. Do your points have anything to do with when a machine pays? I've noticed that when my points get high, i.e. over 5,000 or 9,000, the machine stops paying. Take the card out, reinsert, and it pays. Absolutely not. The machine does not care about your points on your card. The card has no effect on the gameplay whatsoever. There are two separate systems inside of the machine. They do not correspond with each other whatsoever. It's definitely one of those big myths out there. If you end up taking your card out and winning, or putting your card in and winning, whatever the case may be, whichever way it is, and you can either win or lose on every single spin, and that's with or without a card. So if a lot of people kind of correlate that, and it just becomes messy. It's not. There's no effect with the player's card system and playing of the slot machine, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. And going right along here, guys. All right. Charles says, I'm going to a casino for 2 nights and my budget is $1,500. What's the best way to play to make the money last? Very good question, Charles. So you have your budget and you have your trip structured. So what I would do is, since it's for 2 nights, I would cut that $1,500 into 2 and make that your daily budget each. So utilize a daily budget for yourself. Don't burn through all $1,500 on your first day there, because that can be troublesome when you do that. That would be my biggest advice, is to cut that $1,500 in half. Set yourself a daily budget. Work with it. Start out small. Start out smaller and easy, and then build up. And then as you start to build up, then increase your bets from there with your winnings. You can go to some higher volatile games, stick with those lower volatile games to start, so that way you get your bankroll built back up a lot quicker and a lot easier. Very good question. All right. And that's Mark. He said, the sirens are going off. We're taking cover. Hang in there, Brantley. Sorry, guys. Well, Mark, we wish you the best, and we're looking forward to you coming back with us. I know they might also have some power outages or something going on down there. So Mark had to step off for just a minute, but he will be back. It seems like every time, because I know we did a live show once, and Mark was doing a live stream from MGM Grand, I think it was, and they got evacuated from the fire alarms went off. So I don't know. Talk about bad luck. All right. Don Cheeto. You say the machines balance themselves out within millions of spins. Does that mean it's better to go to a casino that gets more foot traffic, etc., strip hotels to get a slight edge on the odds? So this is a good question. So the machines, the balance, they reach their payback percentage usually about 10 million spins. That's the number we know because it says that on the par sheets. It takes about 10 million spins for a machine to actually eventually reach that payback percentage goal. It is it's just simple. It's a simple mathematic, the workings of the math and how the math comes out. Even once it reaches that point, it can still fluctuate. So that number is always fluctuating even after millions and millions of spins. It's just not usually until about 10 million spins that payback percentage really starts to even out to what the number says on the par sheet and how confident they are that it reaches that on the par sheet. So no, there would not be any advantage to going to a casino that gets more or less foot traffic, and you wouldn't get any difference on the odds. There's some machines out there, they've been played for years and years and years, and they're well over 10 million spins, and they play the exact same today as they did when they were first brand new. But very, very good question. Absolutely. Question here from Jack. Are games the same on cruise ships? Yes, they are. They are the same on cruise ships. So the settings could be a little bit different when it comes to cruise ships. Again, every cruise ship casino is going to be governed by the country in which the ship itself is flagged out of, not necessarily where the actual company is based, but where the ship is flagged out of. However, the volatility is not going to change. And that's why we always tell you guys to focus on the volatility of the game, because that's going to tell you a lot more about how it's going to play out in that short term while you are there at the casino and while you're playing on that game. But very good question. All right, guys. Just going through some more here. And Josh says, is there a resource for slot machine volatility, such as a list of slot machine with their volatility shown, for example? So we answered this question a little bit earlier, and unfortunately, there is not. But volatility is something that you don't need an actual number on. So the actual number is on the par sheets for the individual games. It is a ranking. It is a scale. It does exist. It's on the par sheets, but the par sheets are not available publicly. How you guys can tell the volatility of a game is by looking at things like the game rules, the pay table, and taking into account all of the aspects of the slot machine, such as how many bonuses it has, how many symbols does it have, how high is that progressive, or how high are those prize amounts, because typically speaking, the higher prize amounts usually indicative of a higher volatile game. So best resource, honestly, if I were to recommend any resource, if you want to know how a game is going to play out, if you want to get more testimonials on it, is going to be our website. So our website, guys, is not just for you to come on and to ask questions for us, but it's also a place where you guys can come in and talk to people in your local community, talk to people outside of your community. If you're getting ready to travel to a state that you've never been to, you can go into that particular state's forums and you can start talking to locals there. You can talk about individual machines, and there are people on there that play these machines all the time, and they can give you a good idea because they've figured out, okay, this is a high volatile game, this is a medium volatile game, and so on and so forth. So because we, Mark and myself, we don't know every single machine off the top of our head, because there's hundreds of thousands of different slot machine games. So that's why this website is a really, really good resource, because you do get to talk to people all the time that play all these different machines and all these different areas. So be sure to check that out. It is a very valuable resource on there. All right. And Miss Stacy B went to Yamava and Morongo this weekend and played Sizzling Seven, Blazing Sevens, and Double Diamond. I got slaughtered. Hey, it's the reality of gambling, right? Yes, it is the reality of gambling. That's one thing that we always stress here on this channel. A slot machine is still a slot machine at the end of the day. Even if you take into account every single thing, you could come in with the right budget, play the right game and all of that, and hit the button, and it can just not be your day. And it does happen. And we make sure to stress that always, that it is still gambling at the end of the day. Now, in the long run, these games like Sizzling Seven, Blazing Sevens, and Double Diamond, they are fantastic games, and those do hit more frequently than any other game. So in the long run, playing those games, will typically be favorable. but it's not going to be favorable all the time because it is still a slot machine. It's unfortunate, but it is true. And Sue says, does it make a difference if the machine is more or less played? Some machines are very busy and others are not. It makes no difference whatsoever if the machine is more or less played. Every single spin on those slot machines is going to be a random independent event. It doesn't know what's coming next. It doesn't know what happened in the past. It doesn't try to, change its cycle or change anything like that. So it does not matter if the machine is more or less busy. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And Pat says, I want to thank you, Brantley. I won big using your strategy on 3 real 777s. Very, very good. Congratulations, Pat. We love hearing that. Thank you so much for your testimonials. Really do appreciate that. All right. Going right along here, Roberta, why do some games show the same default screen when switching between denominations when it's been played previously? Good question. That's something that some games do and some games don't. Again, we're kind of getting into the weeds of specifics when it comes to individual games. Each denomination is going to have a different pay table that machine is going to pull from. Typically speaking, it will change the order on the screen when you switch it, but not all games do. So it really depends on game specific. We'd have to really look at that individual game to try to find out why it does or does not change over. And Red Wolf 853. I'm trying to follow your 1% rule now. If I have a $1,000 budget, do I find a $10 machine and put the entire 1,000, or break it down into smaller amounts of 100 or 200 per machine? Very good question. So I personally like to get at least 100 spins out of a slot machine. That's me personally. With the 1% rule, as long as you're not exceeding that $10, it's going to get you about 100 spins. So that's why we use that 1% rule. What I would recommend doing is, again, starting with a lower volatile game. Find a game that you like to play and start with that. And if you can build up, then, if you can build up in it, great. If you're not having fun or you're not enjoying the game, then move to another game. If 1,000 is your whole budget for an entire trip, I would not put it into one machine. But if you've got a budget that's 1,000 and you're just there for a couple hours or you're there for the day, I might put it into one machine. So it really, again, it kind of depends on your situation and what exactly, how long that budget is intended to last for. So I hope that helps to answer your question. All right. We are moving right along here, guys. Again, just apologize for Mark had to step off for just 1 minute for those of you that are just now coming on. So it's taking me a little bit longer to get through these questions because there's just one of me and there's 389 of you guys. So appreciate you bearing with me, guys. Really do. All right. Eddie says, should I play 1-line double diamond or 5-line double diamond? At max bet, same denom. Would your advice apply to triple stars, pinball, etc.? So to answer the last part of your question, yes, it definitely would. The advice would apply to triple stars and pinball. Double diamond 5-line is by far, to me, better than single line double diamond. Now, both of those games are pretty low in volatility, but you actually get slightly lower volatility on the 5-line version. The only downside to the 5-line version is each line hit does pay less than the single line version, and that's going to be the same with triple stars, etc. Pinball, you always want to play max on pinball to get the most out of the bonus, regardless of what type of pinball it is. Unless it's the new 9-line pinball, go to a lower denomination because it is very expensive to play. It's 10 credits rather than the traditional 2 or 3. So go to a slightly lower denomination. But in this particular situation, if I were to choose between a single line double diamond or 5-line double diamond, I would actually choose the 5-line double diamond. So very, very good question. Appreciate it. All right. And Allison says it's first live. We think you guys are great. Well, thank you very much. Welcome. We appreciate you being here. And Brian says, hope Mark and all in the area are okay. Stay safe. Crazy weather. I'm sure Mark will be just fine, and he will pop back on here in just a few minutes. And a big thank you to our moderators, Tammy, Susan, and Dave. Really do appreciate you guys. Since it is just me, a lot of times those moderators, they know this channel up and down. They have a lot of good information. So If I miss over any questions, if they respond to you, they are a wealth of knowledge. So thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate you guys helping me out today. And W. Sue, you said that the mechanical horses are RNG. However, so in picking, the odds are not do not mean anything. So the mechanical horses, you might see these. I think there's one at, where did I see one last? I think it's at the Link. There's one at the Link in Las Vegas. They are random number generator based. When you place your bet, you place your bet on the horse, and the random number generator again will decide which of those horses are going to place where whenever the race starts. So it is RNG based. The odds. So again, when we're talking about that, since there's only a select number of horses, there's 4 or 5 horses or whatever, the odds, how the casino would adjust the odds would be to adjust what the actual machine pays out. Kind of similar to video poker. So with video poker, obviously video poker has to rely on just a traditional 52 deck of cards. They can't add cards, they can't subtract cards. So how they adjust the odds is based on what that actually pays. Unfortunately, those machines are, they're really cool machines, but they're not in a whole lot of places. So, unless your casino has more than one, you really have not a whole lot to compare that pay table to. But that's how they adjust the odds of the actual machine, is by what it pays back, because they can't add or subtract horses from the track. I hope that helps to answer your question. And Gamble the Globe says, wealth of knowledge me. Yes, Gamble the Globe is one of our moderators, and he is a wealth of knowledge. So if he's helping you out, guys, in the chat, he's got a lot of great answers. And also, he did a review for us recently, so be sure to check that out as well on our channel. He did a great review of the Luxor. And Jerry says our moderators are the absolute best. Yes, they are. Okay, guys, I'm getting caught up on some questions here. Really appreciate you bearing with me today. After Mark had to step out because of a tornado. So really do appreciate that. Might just take me a second here just to get caught up on all of these questions. Lydia says, I play penny slots mostly. Does it make a difference if I wait for the machine to count up my wins credits rather than stop it while counting? Nope, it makes no difference whatsoever. Some people like to have it count up, and others would rather just skip right through it. So it all depends. But no, it does not matter. It does not matter at all. You can let it count up, or you can stop it early. Doesn't matter whatsoever. It looks like we might have Mark back. All right.
What's up, guys?
All your machines are down.
Yes, I powered the casino off. Well, it's not. The storm is not here yet. It's stalled, but the sirens went off, so I was able to get out of the bathtub.
All right. You
so
didn't
I'll
run
stay
outside?
on as long as I can, guys. But if the sirens go back off again, I got to get out of here. So.
All right. Well, we're pretty much caught up.
Awesome. Okay.
Caught up, Mark. There's
right.
there's a couple questions in here that I haven't snagged yet. Let me go through and I'll tag a couple of them for you. If you want to start picking up on some of them.
Sure thing.
And then I can take a drink of water here.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Brantley.
All right. Welcome back, Mark.
All right, thank you. We'll see how long it lasts this time. All right, and Jack Benura says, do you play video poker better, worse than slots? Well, if you know proper strategy with video poker, then they are absolutely better to play. But I personally do not play them much, even knowing that, because I think it's pretty boring. I like the excitement of slot machines. That's just a personal choice, though. If you're going to play any electronic table game inside of a casino, video poker is your go-to. But again, you have to learn 100% maximum strategy on those. You need to play it right every single time to get the most out of that payback potential back to you. So, yeah, make sure you keep that in mind. And Yvonne Lee says, Slingo used to be one of my favorite slots. Does it still exist? I don't think it exists anymore. I remember playing that one a long time ago at Monte Carlo, which is now Park MGM. And I have not seen it since. And there were different versions of them. I almost got a chance to buy one of the ones that has the little balls in the top that during the bonus round it picks a ball, and those are the credits you get. But I ended up passing on it because it was not working. That sounded like a nightmare. But that's the last time I saw it, and that was probably 2 years ago. So But that was a fun game, and they did make some other versions, but I think it's mostly dead now. I don't think that any of those exist. And W. Sue says, are there any MGM Players Card hotels downtown? No, there are not, unfortunately. They are all on the strip in Las Vegas. All right, I'll take another one here. Joseph George says, when I go to the casino, I see chairs turned sideways or tilted toward the machine without a player's card in the machine. What's the proper etiquette? That's not it. In fact, the last time I was there, I saw one of those, and I took a picture and sent it to Brantley because I was like, yep, here's another one. Guys, that's not the proper etiquette, because somebody could just turn the chair up and start playing again. They could take it legally. There's nothing you can do. The best thing to do is try to flag down a slot attendant and ask them if they can watch your machine for you. They will absolutely do that for you if you can find them. Press the service button on the slot machine, or wait for one to come by and say, hey, I got to go to the restroom. I need to go grab a drink or something. Can you watch it for a couple of minutes? And please make sure you tip them afterwards. You know, you don't have to give them a lot, but they are taking time out of their busy schedule to do that for you. But that is the proper etiquette to do. If you do turn a chair up, things like that, it becomes a hazard. People walking by could trip on the legs that are sticking out, things like that. And so if any slot attendant walks by and they see a chair turned up like that, they're going to immediately put it back down. So that's not going to be effective for you, is it? So yeah, that's definitely not the proper etiquette. And Brantley, I'll just pass it on back to you.
All right, we do have a super chat from Sue. Sue, thank you very much for that. Really do appreciate it. $10 super chat. Sorry to bring this up again, but why would a person play on 5 lines that pays lower rather than 1 line that pays more on triple, double stars, or double diamond? Thanks. This is a good question. So it might pay less to play the 5-line version. However, the hit frequency is usually a lot higher. You usually will get a lot more hits. So in exchange for that paying less, you get a lot more hits. So that's really the main difference. The 5-line triple, double stars, and the double diamond, those double diamonds drop a lot, especially on that 5-line game. So usually that's typically why people will opt for the 5-line more. The 5 lines are phenomenal games to play. I love the 5-line games, and I wish that they would have a lot more of them than they do. They seem, Mark, have you noticed the 5-line games have really kind of seemed to fade away? Like even now, all these newer games, it's either you got 1 million lines or you've got 1 line. Have you noticed that? Where
Absolutely.
are the 5 lines going?
Absolutely, yeah, they're disappearing. It's now either single pay line or 9 line for the classic reels, and then the video stuff are like 300,000 lines. You know, I'm exaggerating, guys, but it's up there. Yeah, that's 5 lines just gone away. Those are the favorite ones that I like to play. So you just got to find them.
All right, I'll go ahead and grab a question here from Stephanie. I played my favorite 10 times on Saturdays, sucked about $3,000. I saw the high volatility on Sunday. I played a 3-coin, no multiplier wild, was consistent in paying $240, never hit 4,000 after 3,000. Is this high volatility? So the 10 times pay games are excruciatingly hard. They are excruciatingly hard to hit on. I actually remember I had one at my store. When I was selling slot machines, I had one at my store, and it never hit anything. The whole time it was on the show floor, it never hit anything. Now, if it does hit, then yeah, it's big, and that's the exact term of volatility. Is it's going to have a lot of dead spins, and then poof, it's going to hit something big eventually. The 3-coin no multiplier wild was consistent in playing. That's the exact term of low volatility. So the 10 times pay is definitely going to be a lot higher in you definitely saw volatility in action on that, for sure. But yes, that one is going to be high in volatility, absolutely. And then Tracy Ann, if you hit a bonus on minimum bet, would you have also hit that bonus, the same bonus, on maximum bet, or would the dollar amounts be the same? Or would the same bonus actually be larger on the max bet? So, again, when we talk about hitting, particular spins, everything comes down to literally less than a millisecond for if you push the button. So it's possible you would have gotten the bonus if you hit it at the exact same millisecond on a different bet. Typically speaking, at a higher bet, when you're betting higher, especially on a lot of the newer games. We see this a lot on Dragon Cash, Lightning Link, stuff like that. The orbs or the amount of the bonus is going to be higher. It is going to be higher than, the lower denominations. The amount of either the orbs that you collect or anything like that, which is just comes natural with, a higher bet is normally will yield a higher bonus. So I hope that helps to answer your question, but you would have had to hit the button at the exact same millisecond to get that bonus. But would it have been a different amount? Again, it depends on the machine. If it's a newer machine, most newer machines, yes, it probably would have been a higher amount, but that's just more consistent with a higher bet amount. So very good question. All right, Mark.
All right, and the rain and hail is starting to come down, so we'll see how long the internet lasts. So you might see me frozen on the screen again, but I'm going to try to power through as many questions here. But first up, $4.99 super chat. I don't know if you got this one, Brantley, from W. Sues. So thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And Evelyn Hamlin says, years ago, 1970s, when you walked into a Vegas casino, you'd hear and see all kinds of bells and lights going off, which made us so excited. Now, 2023, what's the difference between now and then? Big difference from that. I kind of wish the 1970s coins and all that stuff would come back, because I think I'm not old enough to play slots in the 70s, but I love playing coin slots when I can find them. There was just something to it. The atmosphere just felt different. Now it's just a bunch of penny video machines everywhere with lots of lights and music and sounds, and it's kind of taken over. And it's just not the same anymore. It really isn't. And that's just the trend. I mean, times change, and the trends change, and that's what the current trend is. Who knows? Maybe we'll go back to coin slots someday. I don't think so, but you never know. Like, you really never know. Trends come and go. And Linaire says, the random number generator chip is within the bill validator acceptance box that has changed daily, correct? I don't know where you heard that one. That is definitely not true.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
I have not heard
before.
that one yet, but no, that is completely false. Random number generator chip is just part of the actual logic portion of the machine. So every machine has some kind of logic box in it, whether it's a small little mini computer or it's just a simple board, like a computer circuit board with a IBM processor on it. That is what controls the random number generator, and that cannot be swapped out or changed or anything like that. So no, that is definitely not going on. So I'm glad you came here and asked us that question, because I don't want you to keep thinking that's the case. It's definitely not. And Jerry Pace says, I want to tell you both how much I appreciate all you do. I learn so much each time, and I am better and calmer gambler. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
That is so awesome. And just to follow that up too, John Welsh says, why do slots tease us? Here's the thing, guys. Like, I'll say this real quick. Slot education, a lot of people will say, what's the point, right? You just go in and push a button and pray for the best. It's actually a lot more complicated than that. There is a lot to this, and that's why you guys are here. And so what we're trying to do is break all of these things down that have been either myths or poorly explained or whatever the case is on how slot machines work, and break it down so you guys can really understand what's going on. Plus, we tell you what to focus on. Example, what John is saying here, why do slots tease us? It's because they're designed to do that. But you guys are smart. You're here listening to us, and you can see past all of that stuff. And because of that, you will in turn be a better gambler, because you won't fall for those things. Games are only going to get worse when it comes to that. They're going to start giving you near hits all the time. They're going to start teasing you with pots that are filling up, looking like they're about to burst. They're going to be teasing you with progressives that are capped out. They're going to keep doing that because it really plays into the psyche, and your brain just doesn't understand how to process that. So it makes you assume that it's actually really easy. It's really easy to do all that stuff, and it's very, it was so close. I got to just keep playing, and if I keep playing, it's going to eventually line up. Well, it will, but just because it was close doesn't mean the next spin's going to be it. But you guys are really listening to us, hopefully, and pushing through all of that. And we're telling you about stuff. That's why we have not gone through a live show where volatility doesn't come up. And it's important. The reason we tell you about that is because it's one of the very few things that you actually have control over when picking a machine to play in the casino. volatility. Outside of that, it is mostly dumb luck, but it's all about budgeting, using our methods about doubling up, playing the right machines at the right time, pushing your luck at the right time. All of those things are things that you have control over, and no slot machine can persuade you against that if you listen to us and you practice what we're teaching you here. So we're glad it's working for you guys. I really appreciate that. And yeah, they're going to keep teasing. It's never going to end, guys. It's only going to get worse from here on out. And I'll answer one more here real quick.
All right.
Jack says, do you like playing penny machines? Any advantages? I only play penny machines when I'm way up or I'm bored and I want to try a new machine out. I typically always stay away from those because historically they have always been set at the lowest payback percentage. And even though you may not notice it in the short term, in the long term, it's just not a good play. It's just not something good to play, especially to start out with. And unfortunately, because the casinos are just filled with these things, especially when you first walk in the door, that's what people tend to play. So, no, I do not. Rarely, very rarely do I sit down at a penny machine and play it. And it's only because I feel like I want to test out the new game or something like that. But that's the only time.
And there's a lot more in terms of the penny machines about why we don't recommend them. It's not just because, generally speaking, yes, penny machines are always going to have the lowest possible payback percentage. But like we've also stated in videos before, the payback percentage really doesn't matter. So what are we talking about? Well, the biggest problem with penny machines is the fact of the bet amounts can actually be very, very deceiving. You go to most penny machines that are out on the market today require the player to play a lot more than just a penny. Typically speaking, there's a lot of games out there where it's like the minimum is $1 or the minimum is $1.50, 150 pennies, whatever the case may be. At that point, there is a massive jump in bettering your odds between penny slots and dollar slots. There's a huge difference there. And then there's another huge difference between dollar slots and $5 slots or $10 slots. And the problem is so many of these penny games out there now, I see them where, it's a penny machine, but you're playing $10 a spin. That is a huge deceptive thing. If you've got the money to sit there and play a penny machine at max for $5 or whatever dollars spin, you might as well just go to a $5 machine. Your chances are going to increase exponentially, and there's a lot more lower volatile games to choose from in that category. So that's one of the other biggest main reasons why we avoid those penny machines. So I hope that helps to clear that up. And Mark, I don't know if you wanted to take one more or if you want me to grab
I might
the
as
next
well
one.
before the power goes out here. I can hear it outside now. All right. And Mario says, thanks, guys, for the info. You've helped me get 2 hand pays in 3 months. That's awesome. Love hearing it. I hope it continues for you. And Amy says, so you're telling us that it's an AI, and when you say please one more. Yeah, it's that's the way slot machines work, my guys. They will convince you that the next spin is right around the corner. The longer you play slot machines, the more likely you're going to put it all back in. And that's what we're trying to teach you, is to not do that, to break that cycle. Saw the power flicker here. All right, let me take a couple more, Brantley, then I'm probably going to have to duck off again because it's getting pretty crazy out there. Greta says, thank you, Cowboys, on making a bankroll last a lot longer. Awesome. Good to hear it. Boy, you guys are having some great feedback here. Loving it. And I'm going to take this one because I did play this one when I was in WinStar. Jewel Hunt on some Class 2 bingo machines where I play. Are they better, or is it still bingo based on mini game that plays only on bingo card hits? That is correct. They is still bingo. And it's very deceiving on that game. You have to collect 10 jewels, and then you get a bonus round where you get to pick some jewels to reveal some credits. It takes nothing to get it up to that 9th jewel, and then it sits there at that 9th jewel forever. So just because you see a bunch of them sitting at 9 jewels does not mean it's about to hit. That's a pretty deceiving bonus, so just be careful with that one. And Stephanie St. Mary says, thank you guys for all the advice and tips. Have really taken away all the myths, I believe, especially knowing that after I have put in lots of money, the next player won't come along and hit. Yeah, I think we were just talking on the forums, one of the threads just today, where somebody was talking about how it just feels like you should go behind somebody that just put a bunch of money in it and play it because that machine is due to hit. And it's so hard to convince people that that is not what's going on. 100% that is not what's going on. Every spin is completely a separate event. And you just got to keep saying that in your head over and over and over again and try not to fall into that trap. But, you know, I want to say that I sympathize with you guys because I say this all the time, but even Brantley and I fall for this. I mean, we'll sit down at a pinball game and it's just not giving any bonuses, and we'll keep putting money in it like we're idiots. Like, no, it's not going to hit because we just spun it 200 times and didn't get a bonus. It's just our timing was off. And so that it's hard to work against that, but that is absolutely what is going on. It's completely random, and nothing that has happened in the past controls what's going to happen in the future. So you're welcome, Stephanie. And I guess I'll keep taking a couple more here.
All right.
while I'm here.
I can take some if you need a break.
I'll do one more here, and then I'll have to duck out, guys. Brian Reed says most casino experiences will give you the opportunity to leave and be ahead. The hard part is stopping and being disciplined to not give it back. I try
100%.
my best to go for smaller, consistent wins. Yes, and that's why the low volatility is so important. You know, we talk a lot about budgeting and the double up method and things like that, and those are all designed to take advantage of those low volatility machines and making sure that you always leave with money, but leave with money. Segment things out. Like the worst thing you can do is walk into a casino with $2,000 in your back pocket. That's not a strategy. It's reckless, because if you do that, there is nothing really stopping your willpower to just keep putting that entire bankroll in. You have to separate it out. You have to take small chunks and consider it a session. Go play for an hour with $200 of that 2,000. And after an hour, take whatever you have left and stuff it away in the safe in the room, in an envelope, bury it in your luggage, whatever the case is, and then wait an hour. Go do something else for an hour, and then start another session. Those are the types of things that you guys have control over, and it will make you much more likely to leave with money in your pocket. So I hope you guys don't do that, where you just walk in with a big wad of cash in your wallet and say, here I go, I'm about to go to town. It's like, yeah, in an hour, it might all be gone. And then what are you going to do? Go home? Maybe you're in Vegas for 3 days. Now what are you going to do? You know, it can really suck. You got to separate those things out. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go head off here. The lights are still flickering in here, so I better power down. Wi-Fi will probably cut out any minute. But thanks so much for the show tonight, guys. And Brantley, thanks for taking over while I was not able to be here. So.
Of course.
But best of luck. We'll see you guys on the next show.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Mark.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. So we'll go back into some questions here really quick. You know, Mark had to go for he's got that tornado in the area and his power keeps flickering, so he's got to go take care of that. But we're going to continue to take some questions here. All right. Jack has a question. You guys should put together a volatility chart, and can you give us a list of low volatility machines? So here's the thing about volatility, and we really try hard to cover this. So the volatility of a slot machine is basically like the DNA of a person. Every single game is going to be different. There's a lot of games out there. There's well over 100,000 different titles out there. We cannot put together a list of volatility. Volatility is 100% on whoever's playing the machine to determine. And it's pretty easy. Once you get the hang of knowing what to look for, you can pretty easily identify where a game falls on the volatility scale, whether it's low or whether it's high. So we can't give you a list, but we can provide you with the tools on what to watch for in terms of identifying the volatility of a slot machine. Again, it's going to be things like, you know, typical indicative signs of a higher volatile game is going to be something that has a really long, complicated list of game rules. Games that have really high multipliers, usually anything over 3. So you get to 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 12. That the higher you go up on that is going to be more in volatility. Games like the link games, the hold and spin feature games, those are going to be higher in volatility as well. You've got multiple different bonuses going on. You've got, you know, games with really long reels, you know, these virtual games, they have a much larger pay table to select from. So that's going to be the biggest things for volatility. And so unfortunately we can't provide a list of volatility, but we can provide you guys with the tools to help identify the volatility of any game that you are playing when you are sitting in front of a slot machine. And Stephanie says, thank you guys for all the advice and tips. I've really taken away all the myths, I believe, especially knowing that after I've put in a lot of money, the next player won't come along and hit. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. We really do appreciate that. And guys, all of your testimonials have just been incredible. It really speaks volumes for our channel as a whole and our community. And that's one of the other big reasons why we put together this website for you, so that you guys can interact with each other. There's so many positive interactions that are going on, so many great testimonials that are on the website. And it's all free information that we provide here. The only thing we'd ask is, make sure to tell other people about the channel. Make sure to, we want to try to get knowledge out there and knowledge to everybody, so that everybody can have a good time at the casino. So help us out. If you like our channel, the best thing that you can possibly do is share those videos, share your favorite videos, whatever it is. Tell your friends, family, anybody at the casino. On all of our poker chips that we have, we sell, little poker chips in our store that are really great momentums that you can carry with you to the casino. They have our QR code on the back. You can always have somebody scan that QR code if they ask, and that'll direct them right to the channel. So thank you guys so much for all of your positive feedback. It's very, very, very nice to read. So we really do appreciate that. Proud Monkey says, besides harassing slot managers, how can we have an effect on what machines are being brought into a casino or even being made? This is a good question. So these casinos and these slot manufacturers especially, they really do value your feedback. They really do. For some reason, there are a lot of people out there that believe that there is just this wall between you and the casino. And there's really not. When I worked in the casino, the biggest thing that they would hammer on is guest service and, being there for the guests. All the casino employees are trained to hear you out and talk to you and stuff like that. There's not an iron wall between you and management or you and the manufacturers. These manufacturers love your feedback, and these casinos love your feedback about what games should they play, or what games should they bring in, what should the next game be. And actually, we are very, very lucky and very fortunate to have the world's largest manufacturer of slot machines, IGT. They make our favorite games of Pinball and Top Dollar. They are on our website. They're actually members of the forums. So you can actually go on there and you can make a post on our website, question for IGT or, anything like that. They do read those. They absolutely do read those. So we're one of the only places where on our website, you can interact directly with the manufacturer. IGT is on there. So you can actually go and you can ask them questions. And again, it's entirely free. It's entirely free. So it's a great service. It's a great resource to use. So if you haven't yet checked out our website, make sure to check it out. And you can actually do that. You can talk directly to IGT. All right. So going back here to some questions, Jerry says, so true, Brantley. Until I found Cowboy Slots, I only played penny machines. Now I rarely play them and have been winning. Thank you. You are very welcome, Jerry, and thank you so much. The penny games are fun. I will say that. Some of them are fun, and like Mark was saying, there's a time and a place. And there's a time and a place for every different type of game. And I know we always say don't feed the dragons, and we always talk, talk about avoiding the games like the Dragon Link and stuff like that. However, there is a right time and a right place to play those games, and you always want to prioritize your entertainment. So if that's what's entertaining to you, and if that's what you want to spend your money on, or if you like the thrill of chasing that higher limit jackpot, it might be a small chance, but if you like that thrill of chasing it, then we still want you to have an enjoyable time, and we still want you to be able to play those games. But in general speaking, yeah, the penny machines, again, right time and right place for those. So if it's something you enjoy, use it for its enjoyment factor. But if you're trying to get a jackpot or you want to make some money at the casino, it's definitely not the one that we would recommend. And John Welsh says, I used to go into casinos and had no idea what was going on, but watching you guys, I've actually been winning, but no hand pays yet. But working on it feels good to be winning. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome, John. We really do appreciate all of these comments tonight. Have been really, really overwhelming. We really do appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, for being here. Jeff Davis asks, do you ever get down to Tunica, Mississippi and play? I have never been down there, but we are doing a lot more travel. We've got a lot of different stuff going on, especially this month. We do have our first ever in-person event, which is free to attend. It's going to be in Canyonville, Oregon at the Seven Feathers Casino on April 16th. Even though it is free, you do still have to register and you do still have to get a ticket for the event. Those are available on our website, ropethejackpot.com/events. But yes, that takes place on April 16th. It's going to be our first ever in-person seminar. Plus it'll be a meet and greet. And for those of you out there that cannot join, or you're not near Oregon or anything like that, we're also going to be live broadcasting it as well. So we want to make sure to bring it to everybody. And that's one thing that we are doing. So get your tickets now while they're still available, if you do plan on coming out to that event. And our lovely moderator, Tammy, has posted that link for you guys in the chat window. All right. And we're going to go back to some questions here. West Coast Slots has a question. Was playing a Dragon Cash $1 million machine at Grattan Casino. Went to add another $100 bill and the bill collector wouldn't suck it in. Bill collector full. It does sound like a stacker is full. That's usually what it'll do, is it won't take any more money in. It's very possible. Now, typically there would be a message on the screen somewhere that the stacker is full. On Dragon Cash, I believe it's usually a pretty small message, nothing that's really out there. But yeah, that sounds like the stacker would be full. That's probably the biggest thing that it would be. That or the bill validator is probably bad or something. It does happen, unfortunately. But thank you very much. Appreciate your question. And Stan, just a real quick thank you for all you do. After watching all your videos, I now take 30 minutes to read the casino and see them in a completely different light, increasing my enjoyment and entertainment by tenfold. Well, thank you very much, Stan. We really do appreciate that, guys. Absolutely. All right. Again, since it is just me, there's about 470 of you in here right now. So getting caught up on some questions here. Ricardo says, when are you guys coming to Central California casinos? So if you guys do want us to come to your local casino, we absolutely will come to your local casino, but we do have to be able to work with that casino to get everything set up. Because we want to have a proper place to meet. We don't all want to be clustering on the floor and so on and so forth. And we need to get things like make sure we can record there and so on and so forth. We have a contact forum on our website. All you have to do when you go to your local casino, talk to your slot manager or marketing manager, let them know that it would be something that you would like to have Cowboy Slots come out to their property, and have them get in touch with us, and we can always set something up with them. So that's would be the best thing to do for us to come out to the casinos. And Skiff, you say to try to avoid penny machines. What about playing a multi-denomination machine and betting quarters? I assume that's not considered a penny machine. No, it would not be. So each denomination is programmed separately. So if you have one that's penny. Actually, this one right here next to me, this Triple Stars that I have right here. I know it's kind of difficult to see. The Triple Stars machine, it's multi-denomination. It's got 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 25 cent. Each of those denominations is programmed differently. So it would be considered playing like a whole new machine. That's the great part about those multi-denom machines. And Curtis asks, have you guys ever been to Cherokee, North Carolina? If so, what did you think of it? And what do you think of Clover Links? I've never played Clover Links, and I've never been to Cherokee. So again, it would have to be something we could definitely check into and see. We are always open to coming out to any casino that you guys want us to, be it here in the United States, Canada, anywhere like that. We just have to be able to work with that casino. So next time you're out there, just talk to your slot manager or marketing manager. Marketing would probably be the best person, and have them get in touch with us. We're always open to that and receptive to that. All right, Jeff Davis. Well, you guys definitely know what to do to help people learn about slots. You guys are great to watch and learn. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. We really do appreciate that. All right. So guys, here's what we are going to do. We are a little over an hour, so I'll take some final questions. So if you guys want to line up any final questions, and then we will wrap up today's show. Just a couple of quick things. So this week, Mark and I are both traveling. We are going to be traveling around a little bit. We will not have a Wednesday show. Mark will be flying and I will be on the road. So we will not have a show this upcoming Wednesday. So our next episode is going to be Sunday. It'll be our Sunday Slots 101 show next Sunday. That will be the next live show that we have. Stephanie says, I know the slot manager at Thunder Valley Casino here in Sacramento. I will definitely talk to him about having you guys come out. Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. We really do appreciate it. Like I said, we are absolutely open to coming out to any casino that you guys want to come out to. Just we got to be able to work with that casino and get it all set up, and make sure that we've got the appropriate place to do a meet and greet, and get everything set up for that. And Skiff says, thanks for answering. First time seeing a live video. I'm finding it very informative. Many thanks. You are very welcome, Skiff. Thank you so much for being here. And be sure to join us on all of our live streams. We love having you here. All right. Richard says, have you guys ever thought about doing a Cowboy Slots cruise? This would be a lot of fun. It really would. We have not. It's not on our radar or on our planning list. But it's something we could always think about. Again, we would definitely have to work with the cruise company to get that figured out. But again, we are 100% open and receptive to any of that. The folks up at Seven Feathers Casino in Oregon have been wonderful to work with. We're very excited for this upcoming event, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So again, make sure if you guys can come out to that event, be sure to register and get your tickets. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up our Sunday show this episode. So I do apologize for Mark. Hey, he had to bounce off. He did have a tornado coming through his area, but he is okay. He just had to get off. I know they were having some issues with power and issues with all of that. And Chris on here is saying, if you haven't yet, smash that thumbs up button. Yes, please do like this video. We always do appreciate that. It's fast, it's quick, it's free. Everybody hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate it. If you are on your mobile app, all you have to do is swipe out of that chat window and you will get the option to hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate it. Also, guys, again, if we missed your question at all tonight, I really do apologize for that. Try my best to tackle almost 500 of y'all in here by myself for the most part here during a lot of parts of the show. Our website is always available. It is always available. It is always 100% free. You do not have to have any social media accounts or anything like that. Anybody can go to this website. Anybody can participate in it. You can talk to locals in your area. There's so much that you can do on this website. It is basically a social media platform that is made just for gamblers. So please do go and check that out. As a reminder, guys, there is no live show coming up this Wednesday as we will be traveling. So our next live stream is going to be episode number 8 of the Slots 101 show. That will take place next Sunday. As a final thought here, guys, as a reminder, just stay safe. Best of luck, and we will see you again next episode. Take care, guys.